I know everything. I've changed nothing. A founder said those 6 words to me in session 3. Then she cried. Before I tell you why, notice what your body did when you heard them. If something tightened in your chest or your throat or your jaw, this video is about you. I'm Andrea Smith, a clinical therapist with 25 years in the room with high-performing women using CBT, EMDR clinical hypnotherapy. Today, I'm going to do something I haven't done on this channel before. I'm opening a case file. Details have been changed and combined, as always, to protect my clients. Call her Elena. Her case answers the question beneath those 6 words. Why do the most self-aware women stay most stuck? By the end of this file, you know the trap she was in, the single route running through 3 of her patterns, and the exact protocol I gave her at 4 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon. And you know which of those 6 routes is running you. Elena ran a consultancy earning roughly about $400,000 a year. Impressive from the outside. She sat down and named her attachment style within the first 10 minutes. Her patterns, her triggers, her inner child, fluent in 12 years of therapy language. On paper, the most self-aware client I saw that year. And here was her presenting problem. Her flagship offer was worth £5,000. She sold it for $1,500. Her price hadn't moved in 3 years. On pricing calls, a discount left her mouth before she decided to offer one. She'd read every money mindset book you can name. She could quote them. The discount still came out. By session 3, I understood what was happening. And it was not a knowledge problem. To see it, you need to know where knowledge lives in the brain and where pattern was flying from. Because they're not in the same place and they're not even close. Now, everything Elena knew about herself, 12 years of it lived in one place. Her prefrontal cortex, the top floor of the building. Strategy, language, self-reflection. When she said, I know I undercharge, the top floor was talking. Her pattern didn't live there. It fired from the basement, the amygdala, the brainstem, the survival circuitry system. Had wired her as a child, decades before the first therapy book. Now here is the cruel part, and this sequence I need you to keep. The moment a pattern fires, cortisol rises and the top floor goes offline, which means every insight you own is stored in the exact pattern of the brain. Your pattern switches off. The fire escape plan is pinned to the wall of one room. You get locked out during the fire. So Elena is calm on a sofa on the Tuesday night. Understood herself completely. Elena was on a pricing call on Wednesday morning. And that Elena had a different nervous system on. The pattern fires, top floor dark, the discount was out of her mouth. She hadn't forgotten 12 years of insight. She had lost access to the floor where she had kept them. Those are different problems, and the only one of them is fixable by reading another book or by listening to another podcast. But locked out inside was only half of Elena's case. In session 3, I saw the other half. Her inside wasn't sitting there neutral, waiting to be used. It was working for a pattern. That's the part that made her cry. So, in session 3, I asked her one question. In 12 years, Elena, of understanding yourself, what's the biggest thing that changed? She went quiet. She looked at the floor and said 6 words. I know everything. I've changed nothing. And then she cried. Not because the sentence was sad, because saying it out loud broke the spell she had been under for a decade. A spell where understanding counts as doing. Here is what I told her and what I'm telling you. At some point, learning about your pattern becomes your pattern's newest hiding place. In clinic, I call it the insight trap. Feel what research is like in your body. Reading about yourself is safe. No risk. Nobody sees you. Nothing ships. Your nervous system knows this. So each time Elena got close to the frightening thing, raising her price, she reached for the safe thing. One more book, one more quiz, one more video. It felt like progress. It functioned as avoidance. Collecting insights is the most sophisticated form of procrastination I see in the clinic. Because nobody ever calls you out for it. You look like the most committed woman in the room. Check yourself against Elena's file. 3 signs. 1, you describe your pattern fluently in therapeutic language and still run it daily. 2, buy the next course at that exact moment you're about to take the risk. Watch the timing. The purchase always arrives when the exposure is close. 3, your self-knowledge grows every year, but your prices don't. And there is one more layer in Elena's case, the deep one. After 12 years, the woman who understood herself had become who she was. The self-aware one. The one doing the work, which meant change now carried the hidden cost her nervous system had quietly priced in. So, if the pattern resolved, who was she without the project of herself? The trap isn't ignorance. The trap is that knowing became safer than changing. And then knowing became her. And before I show you what turned her case around, I owe you a confession about my own work. I built a diagnostic, the inner critic scorecard, 9 patterns, 3 minutes. And I'm telling this to your face. The diagnostic is not the treatment. The quiz result is a mirror. It was never the surgery. The quiz tells you where to aim. Change happens below the neck. So where do you aim? That's session 4. The session where I put a single sheet of paper in front of Elena and she stopped talking mid-sentence. Now, Elena had taken the pattern quizzes before, including mine. She knew her results. Perfectionist, people pleaser. And the one she hated, the invisible one. The woman whose business should be twice as visible as it is. 3 patterns. For years, she treated them as separate problems. 3 books, 3 strategies, 3 fronts in a war she was losing. So in session 4, I put one sheet of paper in front of her. And on it was something I've never shown on this channel, where I map out the 9 patterns across 25 years of casework. They collapse into 6 roots, 6 original beliefs in a young nervous system that is wired into a survival pattern. Every pattern grows from one of them. Root 1, fear of judgment. If I'm seen imperfectly, I'm in danger. This single root grows 3 of the 9 patterns. That is the perfectionist, the people pleaser, the invisible one. Right. Elena's 3 patterns, all of them, 1 root. She stopped mid-sentence and stared at the page. Then she said, "So I don't have 3 problems." I said, "No." She had 1 root wearing 3 costumes. The other 5 roots, so you can listen for yours. You feel it, not think it. Root 2. Wanting is unsafe. Wanting money openly puts me at risk. This grows from the money ghost. Root 3. Worth must be earned. I'm only available when I'm producing. This grows the overdoer, the identity collapse. Route 4. Stopping is unsafe. So if I stop, take a break, relax, something bad happens. This grows from the pusher. Route 5. Broken self-trust. I can't trust my own judgment. This grows the doubt. And route 6. Legitimacy. I don't belong at this level. This grows the imposter. This is why symptom level work had felt endless for her. Fight the perfection, the hiding pops up. Fix the hiding, the people-pleasing flares. 9 systems is a game you lose. 6 routes is the door you walk through once. A creator gives you a type. A clinician traces the type to the root, then works at the root cause. That's the whole difference. Elena looked from the page and asked only one question worth asking. Fine, it's one route. What do I do when it fires at 2 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon? So at 4 o'clock that afternoon, I gave her the protocol. It has 4 steps, and the deadline's not a metaphor. I call it the 5-minute window. It's the door to the full reset work I do in the clinic, and it rests on one clinical principle. The inside paired with the felt physical action that gets encoded as experience. And insight without one gets filed as information, like the many courses, the podcasts, all of those you listen to. And your nervous system only updates from experience, never on information. This is why Elena knew everything and nothing had changed. 4 steps. Here's how the first one went. Step 1. Catch the insight live. So in the moment the pattern fires, not in the journal at night, in the moment. That Thursday on the call, Elena felt the discount forming and named it silently. There's the fear of judgment. There's the discount reflex. Pattern named, root named. Step 2. Regulate before you think. 90 seconds. Breathe in through your nose to the count of 4 and out through your mouth to the count of 8. Do this 4 times. That long exhale, bringing the top flow back online. You cannot revive in the face of threat. So calm come first. Always. She muted herself for one round of it. Nobody noticed on that call noticed. Step 3. One physical action inside 5 minutes. A smallest true vision. Elena said her full price and then did the hardest thing I've asked anyone to do. She stopped talking. No softening the ending. No. But we can look at options. The price, then silence. Step 4. Log the pairing. 1 line. In pen that evening. The insight, the action, what happened. Because almost every time the disaster the nervous system predicted never arrives. That written line is evidence the body needs to update the threat file. The rule that holds all 4 together. An insight without an action. Within 5 minutes is entertainment. So, from today, you don't collect insights, you spend them. Day 30. Elena's file showed 2 things worth telling you. The client on that Thursday call said yes, at full price. Her first unsoftened yes in 3 years, and the pattern still fired. That's the honest part. 30 days doesn't erase the root. It took 30 years to rewire. What changed was what the firing meant, right? She recognized it as a body signal, not as truth. So each time she held the insight within the window, the signal grew quieter. Now here's the line from her file I want you to keep. Elena didn't know a single thing on day 30 that she knew on day 1. She'd spent what she knew. Which brings me to one thing to do before the next episode. The free inner critic scorecard finds your dominant pattern in 3 minutes. From today, use the results the way Elena learned to. Don't stop at the pattern name. Find the root underneath. Because the pattern costing you most is usually the one you can't see. And 2 of yours are probably sharing one root. 9 patterns, 6 roots, 3 minutes. The first link is in the description. From here, this series goes from root to root, deeper than anything I've covered so far. Next week, I will open the file on the biggest root of all, fear of judgment. Elena's root. The one quietly running 3 of the 9 patterns all at once. I'll show you why women who carry it almost always are the most talented in the room. I'll see you there. Bye for now.